All right, let's dive into a story that comes straight from the darkest corners of a deserted road in India. This is a chilling tale about two truck drivers, a shortcut that goes horribly wrong, and a piece of ancient folklore that comes crawling to life when the engine dies and you're miles from anywhere.
So I want you to picture this. It's a narrow, cracked strip of asphalt cutting right through a dense jungle that connects the states of Haryana and Rajasthan. There are no streetlights, no signs of life. The only light for miles is from a single pair of headlights, and the silence is just absolute.
And this is where we meet our two guys, Ranveer and Mahesh. For them, this is just another night on the job. They're long-haul truckers, totally used to these long, lonely drives. But tonight is going to be very different.
Ranveer, trying to save a little time, decides to take a shortcut he knows. Mahesh is a bit nervous, but Ranveer just laughs it off, saying it's a jungle, not a ghost. Famous last words, right? He's about to regret saying that.
Okay, so this is where it all begins. The story really kicks into gear at the absolute worst possible moment, when the modern, reliable machine they depend on completely fails them, leaving them stranded in a place that feels ancient, dark, and really not welcoming.
So here's the setup. It's 2:30 in the morning. Their truck just sputters and dies right in the middle of this creepy jungle pass. There's no cell signal, no other cars on the road, there's nothing but them and the darkness. It is the perfect stage for a nightmare to begin. Ranveer gets out to check the engine, thinking it's just a mechanical problem. But the simple issue of a breakdown is about to become something else, something completely supernatural. And those are the first words of pure terror, whispered by Mahesh from the relative safety of the truck. His eyes are fixed on the bushes at the edge of the road because he sees something that just doesn't belong there. It's a woman, and she's wrapped in a white sari, with her long hair covering her face. But the truly unsettling part, she is completely, unnervingly still. Not just resting, it's this unnatural, statue-like stillness that sends a cold dread right through them. And then, with this sudden, jerky motion, like a marionette being yanked by its strings, the figure stands up. The movement is just all wrong. It's not human. Now Ranveer, he's stuck under the truck, and he gets the absolute worst view. He sees that her feet, they aren't even touching the ground. They're floating. Her neck is bent at an impossible angle, and with this silent, horrifying glide, she starts moving directly toward them. In a wave of pure panic, Ranveer somehow gets the engine working. He scrambles back into the cab, Mahesh floors it, and the truck just screams down the road, leaving that thing standing in a cloud of dust. For a split second, they actually think they've escaped. But just as that feeling of relief starts to wash over them, they look ahead, and she's there, again, standing right in the middle of the road. And in that terrifying moment, they realize their problem isn't just a ghost, it's the road itself.
So what exactly are they dealing with? Well, this is where we meet our antagonist, the Chalava. In Indian folklore, a Chalava is basically an illusion, a deceptive spirit that loves to prey on lost travelers by trapping them in these supernatural loops, forcing them to drive the same stretch of road over and over and over again.
And this is the exact nightmare they're trapped in. No matter how fast they drive, no matter which turn they take, the landscape just repeats. They'll speed past the same gnarled, twisted tree, they'll round the same bend, and they'll see the same horrifying figure waiting for them, each time just a little bit closer. And then the illusion gets terrifyingly real. Red drops, looking a lot like blood, start splashing against the windshield. And then they hear it, heavy footsteps pacing back and forth on the metal roof of their truck. The Chalavava isn't just on the road anymore, it's with them. At this point, the terror is just overwhelming, but it pushes them into a desperate fight for survival. With his engine and his sense of direction totally failing him, Ranveer realizes he has to fight this ancient evil with some ancient wisdom of his own. He suddenly remembers a warning from his uncle, who was also a trucker. He used to tell these spooky stories about the roads, and he always said that if you're ever caught by a shadow, you stay inside your vehicle, you find a place to stop, and you perform a very specific ritual.
And you can really see the clash here, can't you? All their modern tools, the engine, the non-existent GPS, they're completely useless. They have to turn to a solution that feels like it's from a different century. Neem twigs, mustard seeds, and a desperate spoken plea.
Spotting a little deserted shack, Ranveer, incredibly, gets out of the truck. He finds a dry neem tree, a really powerful plant in Indian tradition. He then burns some mustard seeds with a twig and speaks a direct challenge to the spirit, saying, "Take what you want, but leave the path. Go your way and let us go ours."
And you're not going to believe it, but it works. As they start the truck and pull away, they look back and see the woman, but she can't follow. She's trapped behind this invisible line of fire where Ranveer did the ritual. The loop is broken. They are finally free.
The next morning, they're safe, but completely shaken. They stop at a roadside diner, a dhaba, and they ask the old man who owns it about that jungle road. They have to know if what they saw was real.
And the owner tells them a story. He says years ago, a young bride was murdered on that very road. She was burned alive by her new husband's family over a dowry dispute. Now her spirit, still dressed in her white wedding sari, is said to haunt that stretch of road, trapping travelers as a way of forcing the world to acknowledge the life that was stolen from her.
And this right here is the absolute core of the story. This terrifying thing they encountered, it wasn't born from evil. It was born from an unimaginable tragedy. The Chalaba wasn't just some random monster. It was the rage and the sorrow of a woman who met a violent end. Her story literally imprinted on the road where she died.
And that leaves us with this final, haunting question. This story is passed down among truckers, as a ghost story, a piece of folklore meant to spook them on a lonely night. But maybe it's also a powerful reminder of how real-world horrors, like the terrible crime of dowry death, can become the legends that haunt our roads and our stories forever.